Part of the work around DDC also is that we built a data wall so that our data is very visible, really, and that we look at that from a very independent or individual student level, where every single child is on the data wall, and that we move their card as we get data points. We've always really focused on data. One thing that we said at the middle schools is that we are pretty data rich, but we didn't always know what to do with it in a real meaningful way. And I think now for the first time in a long time, or maybe ever in my time here, we're seeing that data really feel meaningful to next steps in the classroom, and really helping students take their next steps on an individual level, and helping teachers see how their lessons are really making a strong impact on student learning at that grade level. One thing that our instructional coaches have been really instrumental in is making sure that we're staying true to the protocol. We're adjusting as necessary. We're definitely finding our way with developing the protocol so that it fits with the middle school teachers' needs and our classroom needs, but also it just that consistency, that week after week, really focusing on the meeting 1 and then the meeting 2 approaches, not only provides that consistency for teachers to build in their repertoire and think ahead on, but certainly it's providing some consistency for our students. We've shifted in our DDC meetings to focus more on modeling for the remainder of this semester and into next semester. We brought all of the teachers together and did kind of a group PLC with all the different contents in the room. We talked about the keys to an effective model and really gave some examples of what that looks like, how a model or that think aloud process is important for students, especially in that early stage of their learning. At the end of that PD set, we calendared times for teachers to present that lesson, where we got into all of those classrooms just to see kind of what was the baseline with our teachers in the modeling concepts. And we found that right away we had some great skill sets in the classrooms and our teachers, and we found some things that we could continue to work on. Really driving at how we provide opportunities for students to apply that learning right away has been the most important part of that modeling concept. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been able to film a lot of our teachers. Then we're using those little snippets in our PLCs and certainly in our PD days to just show and highlight the great work that's happening across our classrooms.
One of the things that we need to do, though, is to be able to interpret what those graphs mean and how to go about reading the numbers correctly. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to model for you how to go about doing that. All right? Now, it's not a difficult thing to do, but it's real easy to make mistakes on which y-axis you are reading your information from. All right? So what I need for you to do is just to put everything down and just pay attention to what I'm going to do right now. I noticed that my scaling is different compared to the ones that I gave you. These are going by 5s. So that's one thing that I have to look at to make sure when I look at a climatogram as to what the scales are measuring and how to go about reading them correctly. So when we look at this, we always need to have a title for our climatogram so we know where we are. Okay? Are we close to the equator? Are we far from the equator? My line graph is always going to represent temperature, which when I look at this, I would read it from this scale. And my bar graph that I construct is always going to be my rainfall, or the amount of precipitation that I get.
And, we're all our own worst critics. Certainly a teacher watches the video and says, oh, I should have done it this way, or I should have said it differently. But I think that's really the point too, is that not only do we get to see each other, which doesn't happen very often as a teacher, we're pretty siloed in our classroom and we don't get to see a lot of what's happening next door, even in the classroom next door. But so we're highlighting that work and showing that we're all growing and learning together. But also it just gives teachers a chance to self-reflect and also, I hope, really see themselves as strong teachers that they are in this building, and really working to hone their craft as it applies to modeling in particular right now.